Hello already. Let's give it a bit of time for people to join. Just turned 10 o'clock in Germany, so we'll wait a little bit longer. Perfect. Let me give everyone maybe another 10, 20 seconds to join, and then we'll get going with today's topic, market volumes and availability of carbon credits. And we'll dive into the specific carbon credit project types as well. So stay tuned. All right, let's get going. Hello, everyone. My name is Thorsten. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Freeze Carbon. And at Freeze Carbon, we specialize in finding carbon projects. We analyze them in a very detailed process and have developed a due diligence protocol which goes far beyond the certificate standard, like a gold standard approach or pure earth approach. Ask additional questions, go much deeper, and verify that there is an actual climate impact, and only put the best of the best on our platform. And today we'll cover the topic around volumes in the market and availability of credits. And for that, I'd like to show you a little bit the historic trend, what has been happening in the market over the last years, and then we'll dive into where the market is today. So let's get going. I brought some data with us today. And what we see here is the volume of carbon credits which have been delivered and retired. So retired means that a carbon credit has been bought by a corporate and has been put to sleep, so to say, retired, measured against one of their own emissions. So actually been used, not bought for later sell the credit to someone else, but it has been bought for their own CO2 balance. And what we can see in the data and the retired credits on this chart is one of the largest data sets out there. It's from the Berkeley University in the USA, combining it with what we find on a platform looking into carbon removal projects, CDR FYI. And together they cover the following standards. They cover Gold Standard, Verra, American Carbon Registry, Climate Action Reserve, Pure Earth, CSI, and a few smaller ones. And they have a scope of 10,000 carbon projects. So this gives us a good idea around the dynamic in the market, while it might not be a perfect representation of all carbon credits, but it shows a good trend by project type and over time. Maybe to say something around the 2023 year. Overall, 2023 grew by 6%, which is really good to see that it has been a year of growth again after a few years of no growth, or 2022 at least of no growth, and 2021. So the market is picking up again, and also in 2024 in Q1, we already have comparable volumes of 30% compared to last year, and this is just for one quarter. So 30% of the volume of last year means we're ahead of time, speaking quite simply put. But let's look into the different categories and into the different colors that we have. And I want to start with the blue color, which is barely visible. It's the long-term carbon removal space, which is a quite novel space and therefore still in the build-up phase. Long-term carbon removal means everything above 100 years, 1,000 years of locking carbon away. The market grew in 2023 by 104%, which shows tremendous growth in this space. And a lot of this has been driven actually by biochar. So 91% of the credits retired in 2023 have been biochar credits. This is a project type we've been discussing in our info sessions, and a lot of information also on our Freeze Carbon LinkedIn channel in detail. But if you have more questions around biochar, I'm happy to go into those as well. Next one is the short-term removal project type. This is something like afforestation, reforestation. This is the green one. You see it on the very right side of the legend. And it actually shrunk by 13% based on this data set. And then we have in orange, in light orange, we have the biggest block actually out there is the reduction and avoidance market. It grew by 6% in 2023. And this market, because it's so big, we need to detail it out a little bit. As the biggest group, or the two biggest groups in there, is forest protection projects to avoid emissions there, and renewable energy projects to avoid fossil fuel energy plants to be set up. So these are the two biggest chunks in the market: renewable energy, 1/3 of the market, and forest projects, also 1/3 of the market. The mixed, the fourth category that you see in purple, you see it actually pop up twice on this chart, and it could somewhat distort the overall picture. But mixed in this case means improved forest management, improved land use, improved agricultural management. There have been big chunks. They're usually, or these two have been due to project based in America, and they have been retired for the compliance market. So maybe let's take them out of the chart to have a better picture of the development over time. The next question is then, so where do we stand today? And I quickly mentioned already that the Q1 in 2024 has been already much stronger than last year, and we see a big uptake continuing also now that we are already present in Q2. In the removal side, the long duration retirement pre-purchases, so companies that say, I want to buy credits already for 2026, 2027, they are actually growing and growing and growing, which indicates quite strongly that companies are worried that there will not be enough credits available in the given year, that they already now need to pre-purchase these credits. This is especially linked to these companies making strong claims around reaching net zero in a given year in 2026 or 2030. And therefore, they have to have access to these carbon credits to neutralize their unavoidable emissions in that given year. So pre-purchases rising quite fast because big market actors foresee that there could be a crunch in the market in terms of volumes. When we look at how far in advance are companies buying these credits, the average is 3 years in advance. So that means from today on, most of the carbon credits are being bought for 2027. But we see a lot of interest also for 2030, because this is a big net zero year for a lot of companies. And a lot of big companies are pushing this year into their supply chain, and therefore all the suppliers also need to adhere to this net zero target year. On the avoidance side, we see that most projects that are coming into the market are to replace, are cook stove projects, clean drinking water projects, and chemical gas replacement projects, HFC projects. So these are the biggest three groups. So although we've seen a lot of retirements in the avoidance space in renewable energy, the most projects that are coming to the market are not in this space anymore. There's a lot of questions around additionality of these project types. So it's very tricky to find high quality in the space. So the new projects coming to the market are not in renewable energy anymore. So a lot in the avoidance markets are shifting to other project types. And we gave a little bit of a nudge whether there is enough out there for everyone to buy carbon credits, and just wanted to quite quickly cover this topic as well. So whenever we talk around how many credits should a company actually buy, there's lots of approaches to it. And a very famous one is the Oxford Principles. The Oxford Principles talk around the ideal scenario that in a net zero year, everyone only uses long-term carbon removal. so direct air capture and similar projects. However, the volumes today are not available, and the budget or the cost of these projects is very high. And therefore, the Oxford Principles suggest a mix and a combination of different project types. And they say actually that you should go across all the categories that we see here, and over time move towards only using long-term carbon removal projects. And with this approach, there are currently enough carbon credits in the market, but for the long-term carbon removal space, we foresee a supply shortage, and therefore large companies are already now procuring them ahead of time to have them when they need it for their net zero commitments. Can quickly pause, see if there's any questions. And if there's no questions, I'm happy to give a bit of a nudge of what's happening in our next session. In our next session, we will touch on the prices of these credits. So now we've learned around volume development and how it could look like in the future and which project types are coming to the market in the future. But now, what should this cost going forward, and how should you maybe create a budget today already to be ready when you need it, or to have the budget today to buy these carbon credits? I'll give another second to pause for any questions. Perfect. Then I would say thank you very much for dialing in, and have a great day, and reach out if you have any questions around carbon credits.